Obama and the Congress are saying they're going to make our wildest dreams come true. I just, I don't believe it. Like, when have they made our dreams come true the last 5 years? I mean, they keep saying they're going to make our dreams come true, but it's all been lies, So, I checked the budget yesterday. Obama said that the budget deficit was something like coming down. I did hear it kind of slowed down, and we're kind of stuck at $16 trillion or whatever. But he said it would be half as much by next year. I really don't see it, because we spend half $1 trillion to $1 trillion a year on the budget for the Department of Defense and all the other stuff that we spend money on as a country, and then people don't seem to get it as far as who lends the money or where the deficit comes from or how it's created. They just know there's a deficit in the country, that there's a deficit and the country owns money. But it says somewhere in the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, Congress, and my friend and I, Eddie, talk about this, is the Congress is only supposed to meet once or twice a year for a week or two just before Christmas, and they're supposed to do three things: make a budget, print the money, defend the borders, and provide for the common defense. It's to supply the military. So we should have two military forces. We should have the regular army and the civil army, which is the militia. Nowadays we just have the army. The government doesn't want to have a militia because they don't want people armed. But we should have a militia. We should have army, and the militia should be equal, in my opinion, to the army, because you have enemies within and foreign enemies, and the militia is there to defend the country against domestic terrorism. So we shouldn't even have a Department of Homeland Security, in my opinion. But Obama's on there, and the issue, in my opinion, is there's been a lot of lying, because, to be honest, somebody in my family used to work for the government, and I wasn't forthcoming about this because some of the information I was getting was coming from channels close to Washington, because I live near the Washington area. And we got this 6 months ago. I actually knew about this 6 months ago, and I asked the person in my family, what are you going to do? And they said, I'm going to retire, because we went through this, it says like 17 years ago, but it seems like we went through this twice with Clinton and Bush shutting the government down because they couldn't come to a budget agreement. And that's hard when you're from a working class family, and then you're told for a month you're not going to get paid. If you're essential personnel, and I call them key turners, like a key turner or anybody that works in the government that's considered essential personnel, you're expected to go to work anyway, and then they might pay you, they might not. It's not real sure. And there's the minorities, the government unions, which supposedly don't have any weight to bear in the government. They tell the government minorities, we're going to pay you anyway, don't bother coming to work. So the minorities don't show up for work. And then the white people, who are really the minorities in the D.C. area, they're like 15% of the population. They come to work, and then they don't get paid for like a month. And, as my family, the person in my family said, I'm going to retire, I had enough of it. It was really a slap in the face last time, because I said, if you're essential personnel and you don't show up for work, you're considered AWOL. Well, like, how can the government demand you show up for work and they don't pay you? If you work for a grocery store or something and they said, we're not going to pay you, and you don't show up for work, that's a good faith contract. It's like, you're showing up for work based on the belief that you're going to get paid. But the government's not going to pay you. You show up for work, or you're going to be AWOL. And then, so, my mom's, the person in my family said, I'm just going to retire. So, I mean, there it is. The agreement, as far as why it's happened, in my opinion, the Congress said they're going to push Obamacare back another year. Nobody really wants it. I had cancer surgery 5 years ago, I had to file for income supplement because cancer surgeries are expensive, and you can't hardly make that much money working a working class job to pay for it. And I know other people on my friends list had cancer, and it could be very, very expensive, even if you just have a basic surgery. It's like $50,000. But what if you need surgery on your back or something? You know, that can cost quite a bit of money. So, I mean, nobody wants, I don't want it. I've had 2 cancer surgeries. I'm middle-aged. I don't want it. Every time you go see a doctor now, they're foreigners. They can't hardly speak English. You go research where they have their educations overseas. So the medical companies are charging full price, recycling IV bags and all this other crap. And then, you know, we're expected to pay full price. And I think Obamacare is a slap in the face. We're expected to pay full price for substandard health care. In the meantime, we slid something like 24th in the world's healthcare, and I checked a little while back, to 37th. So we're, you know, if you look at one of my videos on how they get a license to practice medicine here, they just have to file the application and pay the $850 fee. So, you know, go ahead, Obama, make our wildest dreams come true. You know, Americans are generally tired of paying taxes. I got a little bit of money in a sock fund. Most people have a little money in the bank. And then I really feel sorry for the people that work for the government and live week to week. You're going to be raped by the government. I mean, there's just no two ways about it. If you get a car payment to make next week and you're waiting on a government check, you're screwed. My car is already paid for. I'm going to drive it till the wheels fall off. And if you're smart, you'll do the same thing.